Okay, so what we're going to do today is get started on the topic of probability. So we're going to be exploring theoretical and experimental probability. Now, you should have all received the worksheet from Ms. Milton, Mr. Cador, and I. And it kind of walks you through what theoretical and experimental probability is. So theoretical is just that. It means it's supposed to happen, but you never know how life may be, right? Things come up unexpected. So that's how things are supposed to be theoretical. And experimental is what actually happens. So in that case, you're actually going to do an experiment. So I'm going to show you how to do theoretical and experimental probability using a deck of cards. And then you're going to do the 3 experiments on your worksheet to figure out the rest. Okay? So theoretical probability means how many times something that we want to happen will happen over the total outcomes, right? So in a deck of cards, there's 52 cards, right? So my outcomes is 52. If I were to draw a card, there's 52 options. It could be a red ace of spade. It could be a black 2 of spade. You know, there's so many different options, but there's a total of 52 in a deck of cards, okay? Now, the number of aces, this is where I got the 4 from. The number of ace in a deck of cards is 4. There's 4 A's in a deck of cards. So my theoretical is 4 out of 52. Meaning, if I were to pull 52 times, there's a probability that 4 times it will be an A. And that's true, right? Because there's 4 aces in a deck of cards. Now, experimental is where you actually experiment to figure that out. So I'm going to use the idea of 50 trials, which is what you're going to do on your worksheet as well. You're going to actually pull a card and tally what it is. So I pull my first card, and it ends up being a king. So it's not an ace. So on my worksheet, I'm going to note 1 for king. Then I'm going to put it back, and I'm going to pull again. And it ends up being a J. Not an ace, but I'm going to keep going. A 3. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do it 50 times, okay? Now, I've already done this, so I wouldn't have to waste time in the video. I pulled the card 50 times and put it back in. And out of those 50 times, 8 times it was an A. So I pulled 8 times an A, okay? So that's where this experimental, meaning out of the 50 times, my total of 50, 8 of those, the part was an A, okay? Now that's where I get my experimental probability. So now what you're going to do is you're going to use your, I think you're going to be doing pulling letters from a bag, flipping a coin, and a spinner. You're going to figure out the theoretical and the experimental. To figure out the theoretical, you need to know the possibilities. So if I have a dice or a number cube, let me say, how many sides are on a number cube? There's 6 sides. So my total will be a 6. So you need to figure out all of your outcomes, put that as your denominator, and then figure out what your actual one is going to be. So in this case, there were 52 cards in a deck. There's 4 aces, so I got 4 out of 52. Then you're going to do the experiment. You're going to use a spinner. You're going to pull a letter from the bag. You're going to flip a coin. And you're going to write how many times you get heads, or how many times you get a 1, or how many times you pull an A from the bag, okay? Out of a total of 50. All right? If you have any questions, feel free to ask us because we're here to help you. Cool? Get started.